Good evening, you're watching News at 10 with me, Renee Fong. The Conditional Movement Control Order, CMCO, enforced in Kota Baru, Machang, Tanah Merah and Pasir Mas in Kelantan has been lifted today following a drastic downward trend in COVID-19 positive cases in these areas. However, Senior Minister for Security Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the CMCO in Mukim Kubang Kerian in Kota Baru and Mukim Kusial in Tanah Merah would continue until 20th December, as the active cases were concentrated in these areas. The senior minister in a statement said that the Enhanced Movement Control Order EMCO imposed at Madrasah Ad-Diniyah Al-Falahiyah Kampung Dalam Huma in Pasir Putih will also continue until 20th December. Previously, the government announced that the 4 districts would be placed under CMCO beginning 7th to 20th December. However, the government decided to end the restriction order earlier than scheduled after the Health Ministry confirmed that COVID-19 cases in the respective districts have showed a drastic downward trend and is now under control. The COVID-19 tally in Malaysia is now at 80,309 after another 1,810 individuals tested positive for the virus as at noon today. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said out of the new infections, 11 were imported while the rest were local transmissions. In a release statement, he noted that Selangor continues to report the highest new cases at 829, with majority of the infections were from existing clusters and close contact screenings in the area. Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham also disclosed 937 recoveries, which left the country with 12,734 active cases remaining. There are currently 123 patients in the intensive care unit, out of which 63 requiring ventilator support. The death toll rises to 402 after 6 new fatalities were reported in Sabah and Pulau Pinang in the last 24 hours. The Health Ministry has also identified 6 new clusters while declaring the end of another 3. With the latest development, the number of total clusters reported in the country so far is 407, with 190 of them remain active. Malaysia has put a target to vaccinate about 70% of its population in order to create an umbrella of herd immunity under the National Immunisation Plan. The country so far has signed 2 agreements which guarantee sufficient COVID-19 vaccine doses for 30% of the population. These strong efforts made by the government had created various reactions among the people, especially in terms of the safety and efficacy of the vaccine.
Saya rasa ia perlu diwajibkanlah sebab ia bagus untuk kita nak protect diri daripada virus COVID-19 ni lah. Yang untuk vaksin ni semua kita serahkan pada kerajaan kita lah. Diorang mesti tahu lebih detail lah sebelum diorang nak bagi dekat kita rakyat kan. Diorang mesti nak yang terbaik juga untuk rakyat dia. So apa yang diorang dah bagi tahu, apa yang diorang dah check tu semua, so kita mesti percayalah.
So far, memandangkan virus ni masih lagi orang kata banyak ada dekat Malaysia. So far, kalau untuk keselamatan diri saya dan family, why not saya ambil untuk for better future jugalah.
Kalau bagi saya, pendapat saya selamatlah sebab vaksin ni susah nak dapat. Tapi bila diorang buat tu, diorang dah kaji, tengok pada orang yang kaji tu macam boleh pakai, so rasanya boleh kot.
Malaysia is expected to receive about 1 million doses of vaccine in the first quarter of next year, with several targeted groups prioritised, including frontliners involving staff of the Health Ministry and Malaysian Armed Forces. The prosecution in Datin Sri Rosmah Mansor's corruption trial relating to the solar hybrid project for rural schools in Sarawak closed its case today after calling 23 witnesses. Senior Deputy Public Prosecutor Datuk Sri Gopal Sri Ram told High Court Judge Muhammad Zaini Mazlan that the prosecution was closing its case after its 5th witness, former Education Minister Datuk Sri Mak Khalid, who was recalled for cross-examination by the defence, completed giving his evidence. The court then fixed 10 February next year for both parties to appear for oral clarification before deciding whether to acquit Datin Sri Rosma of the corruption charges or order her to enter her defence. Dato Sri Ram had earlier said the prosecution was offering 10 prosecution witnesses, including former Prime Minister Dato Sri Najib Tun Razak, to the defence. Datin Sri Rosma is facing one charge of soliciting 187.5 million ringgit and 2 counts of receiving bribes totalling 6.5 million ringgit from Jepak Holdings. It was as an inducement to help the company to secure the solar hybrid project for 369 rural schools in Sarawak through direct negotiation from the Education Ministry. The court ordered the defence and prosecution to file their written submissions on 28th December and 4th January respectively, while the defence has to reply to the prosecution on 29th January next year. A 22-year-old YouTuber who was suspected of molesting a university student has been remanded for 2 days to assist with the investigation. The remand order was granted by Magistrate Kamarul Hashimi Rosli at Kota Baru Court today. According to Kota Baru Police Chief ACP Abdul Rahim Daud, the victim had claimed that she was molested by the suspect while recording a video for the suspect's YouTube channel. The incident allegedly happened at a homestay in Kubang Kerian on 2nd August. She filed a report at the Kota Baru Police Headquarters last Friday. Police arrested the YouTuber and took him into custody after he surrendered himself at the district police station yesterday. Police are investigating the case under Section 354 of the Penal Code for outraging a person's modesty. A tanker driver was charged at Rompin Magistrates Court today with driving under the influence of drugs, which resulted in the death of 2 Pahang Health Department JKNP personnel last Monday. However, the accused, P. Kai Nguyen, 34, pleaded not guilty after the charge was read before Magistrate Aziza Ahmad. According to the charge sheet, the accused was allegedly driving under the influence of drugs and failed to control his vehicle, thus causing the death of JKNP personnel who were riding in a 4-wheel drive vehicle during the incident. He was also accused of driving under the influence of drugs and causing injuries to another health personnel, as well as the driver of a Perodua Myvi, which was also involved in the crash. He was charged under Section 44, subsection 1, subsection A, and Section 44, subsection 1A, subsection A of the Road Transport Act 1987. The court granted him bail of 11,000 ringgit in one surety for all the charges and ordered him to report to the police every month. Meanwhile, Kai Nguyen also pleaded not guilty to using methamphetamine, an offence that provides a maximum fine of 5,000 ringgit or imprisonment of up to 2 years if convicted. For this charge, the court allowed him bail of 1,500 ringgit in one surety and fixed mention on 15th February next year. 4 women were among 167 drug addicts and peddlers detained in an integrated operation code named Optapis, conducted by the Narcotics Criminal Investigation Department in 3 districts in Malacca from 8th to 10th December. State NCID Chief Superintendent Zulkifli Rashid said 40-year-old Thai national and more than 20 drug peddlers were arrested during raids at houses and drug dens around the state. Zulkifli added that the police also seized various types of drugs, including ketum and contraband cigarettes worth 100,000 ringgit. Also seized in the operation were a car and 6 motorcycles worth a total of 80,500 ringgit.
Sepanjang tempoh operasi ini daripada 8 hingga 10 Disember 2020, sebanyak 167 tangkapan telah berjaya ditangkap, di mana sebanyak 163 orang lelaki dan 4 orang perempuan. Dalam operasi ini telah berjaya merampas pelbagai jenis dadah, antara dadah syabu, heroin, ganja, daun ketum, cecair ketum dan juga rokok seluruh. Di mana umur yang telah ditangkap iaitu berumur antara 18 hingga 68 tahun.
Speaking to reporters at Malacca Police Headquarters, he explained that all suspects were arrested under numerous sections, including Section 39B of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952, Section 30, Subsection 3 of the Poisons Act 1952, and Section 3, Subsection 1 of the Drug Dependence Treatment and Rehabilitation Act 1983. Coming up, new economic sectors to be identified under 12 MP. Stay with us. Newly appointed Perak Menteri Besar Datuk Sarani Mohamad will propose 5 more names to be appointed as State Executive Councillors to Sultan of Perak, Sultan Nazrin Shah, as soon as possible. However, Datuk Sarani said whether the 5 names will feature the same faces from the previous lineup will depend on suitability and the consent of Sultan Nazrin.
Ya, kita akan penuhkan dia seperti mana yang sebelum ini dan akan tiba masanya pelantikan itu akan dibuat. Cuma harus diingat bahawa Menteri Besar hanya boleh mencadangkan nama Esko. Hak mutlak untuk memperkenankan cadangan tersebut dan pelantikan Esko adalah Duli Yang Maha Mulia Paduka Seri Sultan Perak Darul Ridwan.
He was met after clocking in for his first day at work at the Perak Darul Rizwan building in Ipoh. In the related matter, Datuk Sarani said he would hold the first state exco meeting next Monday, in which he would be giving a briefing on the Berita Budget 2021 to all assemblymen so that it can be tabled on Wednesday. A number of new economic sectors will be identified under the 12th Malaysia Plan, 12 MP, to drive the economy forward and create economic opportunities for the people. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department Economy, Datuk Sri Mustafa Muhammad, said focus will be on accelerating the development of high potential industries, among others aerospace, advanced electrical and electronics, halal, creative industry, biomass and smart farming.
These industries are identified based on their prospect in generating high value-added activities and products, advanced technology adoption, R&D and innovation, high-skill employment, as well as their contribution in achieving the green agenda.
Speaking at a webinar on 12 MP hosted by the Malaysian Economic Association, the minister added that the country must also increase chain values, environmental sustainability as well as delivery system efficiency and utilizing technological and innovation to boost economic growth. He said successful application of these aspects will increase the country's competitiveness and economic security, cementing Malaysia's position as a main player in the global supply chain. About 154 million ringgit have been allocated for construction projects of the Langkap, Tengkek and Ulu Sepri Seri Menanti new roads in Kuala Pilah. According to Deputy Works Minister Datuk Aidin Shazli Sheikh, this allocation under the Rural Development Ministry KPLB in collaboration with the Public Works Department JKR is intended to overcome road congestion issues in Kuala Pilah, especially during festive seasons. Dato' Aidin Shazli further explained that the project was the first ever rolling plan RP for the Kuala Pilah Parliament constituency, involving 77 million ringgit in costs for every project.
Ini salah satu daripada usaha kerajaan untuk menambah baikkan jalan daripada Kuala Pilah ke Semban yang akan dilakukan secara berperingkat lah. Tetapi kerajaan juga melalui JKR sedang membuat kajian berkenaan usaha-usaha jalan Kuala Pilah Semban ya. Ini melibatkan banyak tanah adat yang memerlukan kos land acquisition yang agak besar.
Speaking at an event in Tanjung Ipoh, Kuala Pilah, Dato' Idin Shazli also said the Ministry of Health has allocated about 200 million ringgit for the construction project of an additional building block in Hospital Tuanku Ampuan Najihah. This is to facilitate nearby residents to access medical services, especially involving specialist doctor consultation and treatment. The Malacca State Budget 2021 tabled last week is not headed for a general election as its objective. Malacca Chief Minister Datuk Sri Sulaiman Mad Ali insisted this, saying that other parties are free to make their own assumptions.
Saya tidak beranggapan begitu. Apa saya ingin buat ini adalah khusus kepada rakyat yang sepatutnya menerima nikmat daripada limpahan ekonomi yang ada dalam negeri ini. Jadi untuk makluman saya lebih daripada 54 juta daripada peruntukan ataupun bajet itu saya serahkan kembali kepada rakyat.
He was commenting on the allegations by opposition leader Adli Zahari, who claimed that there seemed to have a hidden agenda behind the Malacca State Budget 2021 to steer the country towards a general election. Earlier, the Malacca State Legislative Assembly passed the state's budget 2021 to enable the administration and development agenda to be continued. The budget tabled was based on thrusts, namely technology, entrepreneurship, industrial and economic revolution, and international and well-being. Next is sports. FAM MSN project squad get thumbs up, needs space to develop. Stay tuned. Former Harimau Muda chief coach Ong Kim Swee has given the thumbs up for the FAM MSN project squad, saying he believes they will provide their worth after a few years of playing in the Premier League. The Football Association of Malaysia, FAM, Assistant Technical Director said the squad, under the guidance of Chief Coach Yusri Chailah, should be given the space to compete consistently and grow in the league. Kim Swee said his experience with Harimau Muda showed that the young players, who are mostly aged 18, could overcome the challenge of competing against imported players.
Kalau kita lihat daripada program Harimau Muda yang dulu, kita bermain dengan pemain-pemain import. Tanpa pemain-pemain import dan dengan pemain-pemain muda, kita mampu bersaing. Saya tidak katakan pemain-pemain ini akan dibelasah ataupun akan menjuarai. Tetapi tujuan kita untuk mendedarkan mereka pada peringkat yang lebih tinggi, dan saya percaya pasukan ini akan bertambah baik selepas tahun kedua, ketiga, dan kemungkinan kita boleh mencapai kejayaan pada tahun seterusnya.
He was met after the unveiling of the FAM NSN project squad at Wisma FAM in Kelana Jaya. Kim Swee said young players needed exposure to develop their career, and the intensity of competition of the Premier League was regarded as more suitable than that of the Super League or President's Cup and Youth Cup. 30 players comprising the Mokhtar Dahari Academy graduates and products of the Youth Cup and President's Cup, Malaysian and state sports schools and district training centres under the T National Football Development Program will form the Pioneer FAM MSN project squad in January next year. That's it from us this evening. In our top stories, YMCO lifted early in 4 Kelantan districts. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon for more updates. I'm Renee Fong. Thanks for watching and good night.